Honor guard, quick, march! Honor guard, will march on the colors, quick, march! Honor guard, halt! Left and right, turn! Please, colors! Honor guard, to your colors, present, arms! Slow, arms! Outwards, turn! Quick, march! Honor guard, halt! Inwards, turn! Shoulder, arms! Stand at ease.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Judge Challenger. Welcome to this inaugural council meeting for your newly elected mayor and council for the district of North Vancouver. It's my privilege to administer the oath of office and affirm the mayor and council, and also upholding the codes of excellence. We're going to commence this council draft. Councilor Back is dedicated to the national anthem. Oh, sorry. Got the microphone. Jordan Back will be singing our national anthem. We have Elder Fabian Williams here from the Tsleil-Waututh Nation who will address us. The oaths will be taken. Mayor Little will give his inaugural address. There will be a brief meeting of council. Mayor Little will again address us, and then we will adjourn. So with that, I will invite Councillor Back to sing the anthem.
Our home and native land, through patriot love, in all of us command, and at ease.
And now I'll invite Fabian Williams to come forward and
Thank council and people for asking me to be here tonight. My grandfather was Henry George from Swayawatu. My great grandfather was Slufo. They lived up in Yunnan. My grandmother was Mary George. My father was Henry. Well, my father was Donald Williams from Westfield. Watson. My mother was Winona George from. We used to go after we used to use our mother's maiden name, but during contact, it changed from using our dad's last name. But our mother was always the father of the house. Since we grasped, bless my relatives after through their path. They have a lot of things going. It's like me when I run a surplus, I have to look after the people. Make sure they're really good. It's really hard to look after a lot of people. Sometimes I dance with 500 people. And you have to look after people. Last night, I love your dog. They're all related. Council for coming up, giving a blessing to my relatives here. Looking after a lot of people, a lot of stuff going around on this land and territory. A lot of work. Just give you a big blessing like that. And, I hope everything goes for the next 4 years. We have good mind and good heart. That's what really works at good heart. It's always a sweet job. Thank you.
we will now commence with the oaths, and I'll invite Mayor Little forward. Yes, you can be seated. Thank you. They'll just.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming out here today. I did just want to say before I read the oath of office, I'm going to read the entire oath of office, and then the members of council, as they come up, they're going to affirm the oath of office at that point. And so you don't have to go through this 7 times tonight. I, Mike Little, do solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of Mayor of the District of North Vancouver, to which I have been elected. I have complied with the provisions of the Local Government Act and Local Election Campaign Financing Act in relation to my election to this office. I will abide by all of the rules related to conflict of interest under the community charter. I will carry out my duties with integrity. I will be accountable for the decisions that I make and the actions that I take in the course of my duties. I will be respectful of others. I will demonstrate leadership and collaboration. I will perform the duties of my office in accordance with the law. And this is affirmed by me before everyone here at 355 West Queens Road. The other oath we make is called the Model of Excellence. And this is our member statement. As a member of the District of North Vancouver Council or a district committee, I agree to uphold the code of ethics adopted by the district and conduct myself by the following model of excellence. I will recognize the diversity of backgrounds, interests, and views in our community, help create an atmosphere of open and responsive government, conduct public affairs with integrity in a fair, honest, and open manner, respect one another, and the unique role and contributions that each of us has in making the district a better place to work and live. Strive to keep the decision-making process open, accessible, participatory, understandable, timely, just, and fair. Avoid and discourage conduct which is not in the best interest of the district. Treat all people with whom I come in contact in the way that I wish to be treated. I affirm that I've read and understood the District of North Vancouver's Code of Ethics.
The oath of office.
It's a new chair. It's an old chair, but it's a new chair.
I'll now ask the Betty Ford. First, the oath of office, you so affirm. I do. And I'd like to put that's funny. Yeah, we hope. From your post office. Invite, invite Mayor Little to make his.
Thank you so much, Judge Challenger. Ladies and gentlemen, first I'm going to start just by expressing some thanks for the people who made tonight possible. Thank you so much, Honorable Judge Joan Challenger. Thank you so much to Fabian Williams from the TWN for your blessing and challenge today. I also want to thank our bagpiper, Tricia Chismore. Thank you very much for being here today. We also have members from the RCMP Surge in attendance. This is Staff Sergeant Philip Young and Constable Daniel Ann. We have our DNV Fire and Rescue Services Fire Guard joining us, or Color Guard joining us here today, Honor Guard. We have David Eiton, Ryan Svensson, Mitch Bledsoe, David Franco, and Mark Deere. Thank you very much for your attendance today. I also want to thank all of the staff and members of the public who are here to witness this event. We really do appreciate you participating in this process. Now, officially, Judge Challenger opened the meeting, but we haven't put an adoption. We haven't adopted an agenda yet at this point. So, Council, in your package, we have an agenda that's been circulated. Are there any errors or omissions from the agenda as presented? Hearing none, may I call upon Catherine Pope? Will you move adoption of the agenda? So moved. There you go. There you go. Thank you very much. And second, perhaps by Councillor Herman Ma. Seconded. Thank you very much. I just want to make sure that I got you both on the first meeting's official list there. So thank you very much. Call the question on adoption. All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carries. Thank you very much. I did just want to make some initial comments about this, and then what's going to happen is I'm going to give an opportunity to members of council to be able to add their comments to mine. We're not going to have a very long meeting tonight. We're going to have a reception immediately afterwards, and so everybody's going to have a quick opportunity to say a few words. We'll allow the group to recess out, and then we'll head to the reception area afterwards. But I did just want to make some comments. I start every meeting of our council with the statement that this is our community's house. We are all guests in it here to serve our community. It's a bit of a test of humility that we do at the beginning of every single meeting where the members of the council recognize that they're here as guests, they're here at the blessing of their community, and they're here first and foremost to serve other people. And so we use that sort of test of humility to make sure people are in the right mindset when they come to this council, because they're going to be making decisions that are going to be affecting other people's lives. And that is our commitment going forward. While I'm mayor, that we will start each meeting with that test of humility. I love elections. I think they're a lot of fun. It's a great opportunity to get out in the community and meet people. And I have to tell you, after this last term, getting face to face with the community, talking to them again after we had gone through the pandemic, it was so refreshing to be able to get back out and talk to people and re-engage. And that really has refilled my social batteries, as my kids say, to play this role and to work with the community going forward. It's not just the wins, sometimes it's the losses as well, but they do provide us an opportunity to hear what the community has to say, make sure that we're in line with what the community is setting out as priorities. And we also have the added advantage of being able to hear the ideas put forward by our colleagues and the other people that were running in the process. And so I did want to, at the start of this meeting, express my appreciation to all of the people who ran in the election. Obviously, we have the council that's been formed here from the community, but we also had Matthew Bond, Trey Bell, Ellison Mallon, Greg Robbins, Peter Teven, Harrison Johnson, Clayton Wellwood, and Thomas Tofik. Some are here. I know I've seen Ellison in the back there, and not certain if I've seen other members as well. We also have, I see Cindy Gerlach, one of our school board trustees, has joined us here. Is there anyone else from the school board joining us tonight? Well, it's great to have these groups out, and as we go through the campaign, it gets a little bit intense. You have these weeks where you have night after night after night where you're getting together and getting to know each other and hearing the ideas, and it's a fantastic opportunity. I highly encourage people out there who are willing to suffer the slings and arrows of public office to put your name forward and come out and make sure that we'll make sure that you have a great experience. The other challenge to the people who ran and did not get on council is you have a lot to give your community. And if you want to come out, we have several committees and groups that we support in the community. And I want to make sure that you have opportunities to give back to the community, because we certainly know that you've been willing to put in the effort in the election process. And so it would be, if other people would like to put their names forward, we have lots of volunteer opportunities in the community. When I first arrived on council in 2005, things were quite different. We had email, but social media wasn't really a part of our world yet. And I have to say that it's really changed the job. Now we have a 24-hour community with the expectation that we're available to answer questions, take actions on any platform at any given time. And it's never been more challenging time to be a community representative. But I've also found this to be an incredibly gracious community with constructive and engaged people. And this job is a very rewarding job. You will get out of it what you put into it. If you make yourself available, if you work with people, if you help find solutions to problems, this is going to be the most rewarding time of your life. And other people can't quite get into the groove of it, and they lose an interest and they don't run for re-election. But I think that if you apply yourself and engage with people, I think you're going to find this to be an incredibly rewarding opportunity. It has been an absolute honor to serve this community as your mayor for the last 4 years. I am excited and re-engaged following the election, and I look forward to working collegially with the council that you have selected to lead this community through whatever challenges we may face. Thank you again for your support. I look forward to working with everybody going forward.
Turn. Outwards, turn. Quick. March.
That's great. Thank you very much. And it wouldn't be an inaugural meeting without some small mistake on my part. I intended to withdraw item 5.2 at the beginning of the adoption. We had a request from Metro Vancouver to make that decision before November 10th, but they have extended it so that we can make that decision out to the 21st. And so I will be withdrawing item 5.2 at this point. Before we proceed, though, any further, I would like to create an opportunity for members of council to make comments and statement if you would like. I think we should probably go in the same order that we went to at the start of the night. So I'm going to call upon Councillor Back if you have any comments you'd like to make.
Thank you, Mayor Little, and good evening, everyone. I want to begin by thanking everyone who's joined us here this evening. I also want to thank all of our staff who put so much work into organizing this special event here tonight. I'm extremely humbled to be sitting back here at this council table, and I do want to recognize and thank the community for the immense support that I received in the election. I am truly excited to be able to continue serving for the next 4 years. I also want to extend my sincere thanks to everyone who put their name forward to run in the last election. It is not an easy thing to do. And I see Eli is here tonight. And in particular, I want to thank my now former council colleague, Matthew Bond, who stepped up to run for mayor in this election. It was wonderful to see the number of people who he was able to engage through his campaign and showing that there is large support for positive change in our community. On a personal level, I really enjoyed getting to know many of the candidates and having you all made the campaign a very enjoyable experience. I hope all of you who ran will find a way to stay engaged in whatever way that works for you to make our community better. Over the course of the campaign, I had the pleasure of connecting with so many people, the majority of whom we'll likely never actually see here in the council chamber on a Monday night. And the reason being, they're busy trying to make ends meet in a time that's never been more challenging, trying to raise young families or run a small business. I also connected with a lot of younger voters who weren't really sure if their voice was being heard or if local government was really looking out for their future. To all of you, I want you to know that I heard your worries, your frustrations, your hopes, and I've got your back. And I'll do everything I can do to be your voice here at this table. To you, Mayor Little, and to all of my colleagues around this table, I congratulate each of you. I know that we will always have our differences of opinion, but we are here to serve the whole community, and I hope that we will focus this term on the areas where we are aligned and we can truly make great things happen. The District of North Vancouver continues to be an incredible place to live, and it's up to us in all that we do to make sure that it remains that way for generations to come. I'm excited to get to work on tackling some of the key issues we face, including building housing options so people can stay in our community at all life stages, working on transportation solutions that'll make it easier and safer for people to get around the community, protecting our natural environment, and continuing the important work on climate action that was started in our last term of council. And finally, working with the small business community as it emerges from the COVID pandemic. Finally, I want to say a special thank you to my family, my dad who is here tonight and has been a part of supporting and celebrating every major accomplishment in my life. My mom, who couldn't be here tonight because she's at her own inaugural meeting in the City of North Vancouver Council. And finally, to my wife, Signe, who is here. She's the biggest support in my life. And new since the last inaugural meeting, we're now raising 2 young children in this community. And I couldn't do any of this without her. So thank you again. And I'm so looking forward to a great term with you all.
Thank you. Councillor Forbes, do you have comments? Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a speech all written and I left it at home. So thankfully for all of you, this will be very short and sweet. I also feel very humbled to be back here and very honored to be able to do this work and to be able to try and help as many in the district as I can. I think that people who get involved in this, it's certainly not for the money. It's just a passion, it's a heart, and we care about the community, and I care deeply about you. I still am going to move forward with things that I stood for in the first term, and one of them is infrastructure that hasn't caught up to development within the community, and that's causing all kinds of problems. And I wrote the speech before this weekend happened, but it kind of emphasizes that a little bit. Also, what I call attainable housing, which is housing tied to income, not just affordable, not just 10% under the market, but actually tied to people's income. So I'm strongly going to work for both of those things. I also want to work towards better communication with the community, involvement of the community, and transparency as to what this council is doing, what we're thinking of, and making sure it gets communicated to the public in a good way and in a timely way. So I just want to thank you again. I'm very honored to be here, and I'm ready to get going again. And thank you to the rest of my council that's here, and I'm looking forward to the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Forbes. Councillor Jim Hansen.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to begin by congratulating all of the council members and mayor who achieved election and are sitting at this table now. Recently, Member of Parliament Terry Beach came in. He said, democracy works. And looking at everyone who was elected, I absolutely agree. And I thank the voters of the district for their wisdom and their providence in selecting this group of people who I believe will be very effective in their role as in guiding this community over the next 4 years. I'm honored to serve with all of you. I respect all of you. And as I say, I congratulate the voters on their judgment. I also do wish to acknowledge the candidates who weren't successful. As I said during the campaign trail, without candidates, there's no elections, and without elections, there's no democracy. I know firsthand what it feels like to lose an election, and it can be a great disappointment. At the same time, I know that everyone who ran served this community in an important way, and I thank you for that service. On the topic of thank yous, I'd like to thank everyone who has assisted me throughout my political life and assisted me to secure this election. At the top of that list, of course, is my family. I remember Richard Walton saying when we were sworn in the first time, it's the family who pay the price for our political lives, and so often that's true. Thank you for all of the work you've done to help me. You've been my sign crew, you've been my political advisors, you've helped me with everything that I've said to the community, and that's just meant so much. And when I look out, I see my spouse Ruth here, I see my son Robert. It means an awful lot to me to have you, your faces in the crowd today, so thank you for that. And of course, I want to thank everyone else who helped me get elected. I see some of you in the room today, volunteers, donors, people who gave to my campaign, people who voted for me. And let me also thank anyone who voted against me. Thanks just for voting. That's an important contribution. And I also want to thank each and every person who just gave a friendly greeting to me as I went through the campaign trail. My experience with North Vancouver residents is that you're very intelligent, informed, engaged people, very gracious in your dealings with politicians, whether you agree with them or not. Now, I have to say there's a few outliers on social media, but we'll put them aside for the moment. It's always a pleasure from my point of view to meet North Vancouverites, and this election was no exception. So thank you to everyone who made the election a joyful experience in that respect. The dominant issues, of course, were housing and transportation, and I'm not going to belabor the point. I will note, however, that unlike so many places in Metro where mayors were tossed aside and councillors thrown under, our council re-elected everyone who stood for re-election. The mayor was re-elected. Every councillor stood for re-election was re-elected. And I observe that to say this was not a change election in the district. And I believe that going forward, we do have to take into account the fact that the public essentially endorsed the strategy of the last council. And for this time anyway, it may not always be true, but it was true in the 2022 local government election. So I do wish us to keep that in mind. This was a status quo result. At the same time, we heard again and again that the public wishes to see real progress on issues of housing and transportation. As Councillor Forbes has noted, the events on Mount Seymour Parkway this weekend highlight some of the issues concerning the resiliency of our transportation system in North Vancouver. And during the campaign, I don't think I met a person who didn't raise housing, affordability, and rental housing as an issue, whether it was their own issue, their issue of family members, or issue of close friends. So we do wish to make progress on these key issues. And for my part, I very much look forward to working in a collaborative and progressive manner with all of the council in order to achieve these some tangible outcomes. We can't solve these problems completely, but let's end this term by making some tangible steps in the right direction. And with that, I'll close by thanking all of you for coming out. Just by coming out, you've made a contribution to our community, and I thank you for that contribution. And I look forward to continuing to get to know you all better during these 4 years of council. So thank you.
Councillor Hanson. Now, not candidate Herman Ma, not Councillor-elect Herman Ma. For the first time, I get to say Councillor Herman Ma. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Little. Good evening, everyone. What an amazing and exciting couple of months. First, I want to thank my family for their incredible support. My wife, Deborah, daughter, Julia, my mother, Lily, and cousin Ivan are here to celebrate tonight with me. I also want to thank my family, my friends, my great team of volunteers, especially my sign team, who worked tirelessly during my campaign. I want to also recognize 2 people that gave me very invaluable counsel and advice during my campaign, Barry Forward and Flavio Caron. Now I'm looking forward to working with the entire council and staff to serve all the residents of the district. There are challenges in mobility and housing. My focus will also be on supporting a strong local economy and taking action to build community in a sustainable manner. I'm also looking forward to working with our local First Nation government, as well as the regional, provincial, and federal government on addressing the key issues faced by the district. There will be opportunities to collaborate with the Board of Education and other councils on the North Shore. I thank you for your trust in me and the rest of council to take on this immense responsibility. Thank you.
Councillor Lisa Murray.
Thank you, Mayor Little. I'd like to just acknowledge a few people that we didn't recognize at the beginning of the meeting. Councillor Holly Back from the City of North Vancouver has just walked in to join us. MLA Susie Chant is here, and School Board Trustee Culver Mann is here, re-elected. So welcome. Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to thank the community for returning me to my 9th term. I am humbled that I still have the kind of support that existed when I was first elected in 1996. I've worked hard at being a consistent voice for the community. And it has been, other than raising my 3 children, Sydney, Jordan, and Benjamin Crosby in the middle, my greatest work. And for that, I am grateful for your support. I reflect back on the last 26 years, and boy, have things changed. The complexities of this job from then to now are night and day. The stakes have changed as well. They are massive, both in benefit and impact. Our work is more challenging than ever before. Our community is changing, but there is an intrinsic will to protect our identity, this place, why this community's characteristics are more relevant than ever. The pandemic changed how we lived. It changed how we work. It made people reassess directions. It also taught us lessons of what could be. Technology kept us connected, and we became more reliant on it for our ability to see each other through a very isolating time. Many of us became riveted to the abundance of information available. Everything from online yoga classes, sourdough recipes, Zoom calls, online social gatherings, and politics. We have watched the number of wars around the world in real time, gasped at what human beings are capable of. We watch as the planet heaves to breathe as climate change accelerates. We also watch a line growing between us that was once faint, an impatience and a divide we have not seen before. We know there has always been a line in politics. It was visible, but you could reach over and connect with your opponent. In Canada, we voted more often for the person than the party. Municipally here, we come from community associations, volunteering, our local neighborhoods. We are listening less and sadly arguing more. The perceptions of one another's perspectives and motives are being challenged in a way that increases negativity, the health of our community, and ourselves. Social media has changed how we communicate, given us more opportunities than ever through a keyboard, but less face-to-face conversation. It is a tool that has changed the outcomes of many scenarios in the most positive way. However, it has also become a weapon. 60 Minutes last night reported in an interview with Tristan Harris, co-founder of the Center for Humane Technology, a tech ethicist formerly of Google with a baccalaureate degree from Stanford, that platforms like Facebook and Twitter are actually helping to create polarization and ultimately making billions of dollars in the innovation of divisiveness. An analysis by the New York Times found the online use of the word civil war has exploded. Our societies are stressed. Planet Earth, the economy, taxes, war, the basic necessities are all issues that collectively governments across our country and beyond are tasked with resolving. No small feat. The world was once a big place, now quite small. We can see and feel everything in real time. The challenges we face are immense, and in our little corner, our primary role as municipal governments are no less important. Water, sewer, roads, planning sustainable communities, caring for the land we use, and connecting each other to live, work, and play. This is what I know. We have more similarities than differences. We are here because we care deeply about our community, and we as local politicians have the best opportunities to bring people together because we are accessible and here, living and working. We have neighbors that we need to work harder to get to know, building relationships and trust in the process. We need to get back to being respectful and honest with one another without fear of reprisal. We need to get to know each other as people first. Good decisions, people first, for that is what good leadership is about. Good decisions can be very difficult, and the direction we will take will be with input from a skilled and dedicated staff team, the community who knows us better than we know ourselves, and our own experiences and instincts. But those directions starts with clear communication, trust, respect, creativity, and yes, agreeing to disagree. We can't please everyone. We need to understand our political lanes and work towards what we as municipal governments are able to achieve, while continuing to collaborate with senior levels of governments to realize the big picture that I think we are all striving for, a healthy future. There are no simple answers to what we are up against. It is not one size fits all. There needs to be flexibility as our community is diverse in its population, socioeconomic positions, and its geography. We need to remain eclectic to truly remain sustainable. We need to return healthy dialogue back to this table and the community in order to achieve the goal of finding resolve to the many issues we face. As humans, we are best in moments of crisis. We come together, act quickly to act. Our community's expectations that we will strive to work towards good solutions together on their behalf is where we need to get to, crisis or not. As FDR once said, the test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide enough for those who have little. I sincerely look forward to the next 4 years, working with all of you around this table, getting to know you and discovering some of those similarities. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mary. And now it's an honor to call on Councillor Catherine Pope.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Well, I am so honored to have been elected to this position and humbled that the voters of North Vancouver have put their trust in me, and grateful to be here on these beautiful lands, the unceded territories of Squamish and Tsleil-Waututh nations. I certainly want to thank my daughter Mariana, who's here joining me tonight and supported me and was a great sign waiver and all kinds of other things during the election campaign, and my sister Elaine and my very, very good friend Paula for being here tonight. I wanted to do this job because I'm worried about what the future holds for Mariana. I know that she will never be able to afford to live here. We have slammed the door on young people today and said, sorry, unless you're rich, you won't be able to rent here, and you certainly won't be able to buy a house here. A recent survey of Metro Vancouver residents, including North Van by Angus Reid, found that 81% said local governments performed poorly on housing. And I heard this when I was out door knocking. People are frustrated, sometimes even angry, that the district has done so little to deal with the housing crisis. I met seniors who don't see their grandkids because their families can't afford to live in North Van and they can't drive an hour and a half to get here. I met young, very well-to-do families in Lynn Valley whose parents can't afford to live here, so they can't help with the childcare. I met homeowners who are pulling their hair out because it's so darn hard to get something built on their property, a tiny house, a coach house, an extra suite, whatever it is. So their adult age kids can live on their property and go to Cap College. We've got a huge, festering housing affordability problem, and it's only going to get worse unless we start saying yes to more developments that provide affordable housing. And so it became very clear to me that this election and the people I talked to want change. And I think, unlike my friend here, that this was reflected in the vote. I think that voters have sent a very strong message that they want change. And I really hope that we can make housing more affordable, incorporate climate action into our policy making, and make life better for future generations. And I'm committed to doing whatever it takes to make that happen. And that includes collaborating with my fellow council members. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Council, for your comments today. We do have one piece of business remaining on the agenda at this point, and so I'm going to go to item 5.1, the results of election by voting 2022 general local election. Mr. Clerk, your comments?
Here we are. Oh, thank you, Your Worship. This is a statutorily required report. The Chief Election Officer, the Deputy Clerk, Ms. Lands, who was the Chief Election Officer, has assembled the attachments to the report, the official results and the ballot account. And that's, as I said, statutorily required to be delivered to Council within a certain time frame, so happens to fall at the inaugural meeting. And simple receipt of the report would be in order.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Muir. Is there a seconder on the matter? Second by Councillor Back. Okay, anyone wishing to speak to the matter? Call the question. All those in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Just a quick comment on item 5.2, which was withdrawn. This is to appoint the District of North Vancouver's representative to Metro Vancouver. And originally they had requested that we take care of this piece of business by November the 10th, but we have asked and we are able to submit it at a future date in time for November 25th. And so we'll take that to a future meeting rather than having the debate about this today. So that completes all of the business today. I did just want to say again, a special thank you as we went through the election. The voter turnout was very concerning. And you've heard it interpreted as status quo, interpreted as progress or change as well. But really, there's a lot of things that the numbers don't tell us. And at 22% voter turnout, we can, maybe it's some apathy, maybe it's contentment. I'm sure the incumbents would like it to be in contentment. But it could also be that they weren't engaged or inspired by the different messages we were raising. There's also a very scary one in there, which is that so many people in our community are no longer consuming local news and local information, and they weren't able to get informed leading up to the election, or they chose not to participate. And we have to make a special effort to reach out to the 78% of the community that decided not to vote to find out why. Was it contentment? Was it apathy? Was it not being inspired? Or simply was it that we don't have the tools in place to be able to communicate to make people aware and prepared to vote in the next election? I think that really has to be in the back of our mind through all the decisions we make over the next 4 years, is this piece of community engagement and making sure that as we lead into the 2026 election, which I know sounds like a science fiction future date, but that is the end of this term, that we have a community that is informed, equipped, prepared, and ready to come out and make a selection process in that election. But to that end, I want to say a special appreciation and thanks to all of the people who organized the election, who carried it out, the people who came out at the polling stations to work a box for a day or work a portion of the voter log for a day, and people that made that all possible. I think they definitely deserve our gratitude and appreciation. And so I just wanted to say on behalf of the council, thank you very much to the team. Thank you very much, Genevieve Lance, for your involvement as the leader of the election this time around. Thank you. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention we have a couple of guests that did sneak in the back. I'm not gonna, embarrass you for being tardy, even though you're school board trustees. Yes, we do have Linda Monroe and George Shakos have come and joined us as well. When we recede into the reception area, take a chance to go and say hi to your school board trustees and your MLA as well while we're there. At this point, council, we've completed the business of this evening's meeting. If someone will please move adjournment, I will accept. Moved by Councillor Forbes, I accept. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we have a reception in the back room. Everybody is welcome to participate if they'd like. You can also, we have Sarah here is taking some photos. If people would like to get photos up at the front here using the flags and the coat of arms, are welcome to do that. They can use the chair. Plus also, right before the council goes to the reception area, I'd like to get all of the council together for a group photo to start the council off. And then after that, we'll see you all in the reception space. Once again, on behalf of the council, thank you so much for coming out and participating today.